loud without it being really awkward. Today's topic is foreskin restoration. Ripping off a band-aid, you just have to say it. It's like getting caught with your pants down, getting caught with a freaking phone on a tripod, and you're just sitting there talking. It's like, Anyway, foreskin restoration. And how that has anything to do with me. And perhaps you. We shall see. So, I've made a rough draft video of this before, which I'll put a link somewhere. Or if you just click on my channel, there aren't that many videos. You can just sift through the library, which isn't very much. I think it's just like 2 or 3. And where I kind of go through a rough draft version of this video. And I'm going to continue to make it until it's nice and perfect. The main thing for tonight is actually telling my story. What has brought me to this whole project, which isn't easy by any means, but possible. So I'm gonna give this a try officially, and you can consider this like a journal entry, kind of like a marker, a checkpoint. All that works. So where am I at during this process? Believe it or not, I am 30. Found out about this stuff roughly around 14, 15. What made me stumble upon this is actually while I was doing some searches for foreskin, I had the procedure done when I was 12 years old. Traditionally, people have it done at birth, 11, 12. I'll get into that. And so at 14, 15, I kind of had a lot of regrets. And so I was kind of looking into stuff and stumbled upon this whole thing, this process. At the time, there weren't that many, it wasn't a popular thing. It was amongst its community, but it wasn't what it is now. It's much more accessible. There's a lot more information on there on the topic. And believe it or not, a lot of the information that's out there now is actually available then. It just wasn't something that, I don't know, maybe I overcomplicated it. But what was available a lot was in Quora. I don't know if y'all remember that thing. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Quora, it was like Reddit, DIY. Lots of DIY, which is unfortunately the route that I fell under. And I say unfortunately because I made a lot of mistakes. Mistakes that I am regretful of having made, and mistakes that I would steer others clear from. I would steer them away from going in that direction. In fact, any DIY, just stay away from. For anybody that's, let's say, under 18, or still living at home, and you can't really buy these things yourself, there are methods, and those methods yield better results than trying to DIY anything. So screw DIY. I guess I believed more in the devices than I did in the methods, and believe it or not, I bullshitted around for years to the point where I finally ended up getting my hands on a device, and I couldn't even get it on because all I've been doing is just bullshitting. Which is why I say some of the methods, which are actual manual methods, use your hands. And these methods tend to yield a lot better results than trying to just immediately jump into devices devices, of course, that sometimes you can't access. So now you're trying to makeshift stuff, and it just doesn't work well. But the goal is to yield result, okay? And you'll know you've gotten enough result when years later you actually get the device and it works, okay? It stays on, okay? I'm gonna end the video for now because there's people walking. Okay. Round 2 for the video. This time I don't have to prop it up. Oh, yeah. prop it up. Not necessarily that works for now. Just different places, different spots. Probably gonna end up moving again. I'm also scared that people can hear me. Sorry, I repeated that. It's just I just wanted to see how loud it was. The lighting here is great though. That's why I came here, because the light is like right there. But it's not like in your face, blind in your face. Oh, that's because that's not an actual light bulb that's popping out of there. That is a reflection of the light. It's smart. That way you can actually look up and not be blinded. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. We left off at stay away from DIY, which I repeated like 100 times, so I'm not going to do that to you again. And that the whole point, that can be disheartening to hear that devices aren't necessarily going to be your way in the game, right? It's not going to be the best and easiest way to do it. But for starters, for those who don't have access to the devices, which like I said, you shouldn't be jumping into, do manual methods. Manual methods rock. They're the shit. Like I said, I had mentioned that I had my circumcision done just roughly around when I was 11. And I said 11, 12 because, believe it or not, so I was 11 years old when I got the circumcision done, and I'm not entirely sure what happened. I just remember, this is the part where I think is unfair and unethical, sort of. I was taken, there was a lot of talk when me and my legal guardian were having the talk about, foreskin, and I had mentioned that mine was a little bit tighter than usual, or mine was tight in general, and sometimes it hurt. And so we went to the doctor, the urologist, in this case the circumcisionist, right? And in like a minute, 5 minutes, he was like, yep, he needs the surgery, and gave all these reasons why it would be beneficial. And so we went ahead with it. So procedure gets done. I spent about a week. I spent about 3 months with the stitches, and the stitches ended up healing with, so it was just a whole shit show. What was a little retractable became completely unretractable, and it looked horrible. And it was like 2-3 months in, I don't remember, like maybe a month or 2 in, I pulled up to my guardian. I was like, hey, yo, does this look right? And he was like, no. So he calls the doctor calls us back in, and we have to get a round 2 going. So round 2 comes along, and it's a revision, right? At this point, that's called a revision. I hope I'm not being too loud, but we get the revision done, and all is all. I move on. Everything goes on until later in life. This is what started to fuck me up. For the longest time, for many years, I'd say about a decade, I was getting rejected a lot. A lot of the online, a lot of relationships. I wouldn't even say relationships, just a lot of hookups go on online. And the thing is I wasn't the ugly duckling, and so my face was getting me a lot of conversation, but unfortunately my dick pic was not getting me anywhere. And so but I know that now. Then I thought almost every other reason under the sun. The most toxic one was when I thought that my race was the reason why I was being rejected a lot. And don't get me wrong, there's some people out there, including myself, that unfortunately aren't attracted to everyone, and Everybody has to go through that. But I, for the longest time, thought that that was a very big factor as to why I was getting rejected online. And it just caused a lot of psychological harm on damage, because it wasn't until I was watching a lot of porn when I was like, you know what's crazy? There's a very big difference between these dicks and in my dick. And that's when I made the realization I'm not getting rejected because of my race, especially because I started to get really attracted towards my race, and then noticed that other people were really attracted towards my race, and so I was just like, so it can't be my race, which is Latino. And so I figured, okay, something else was wrong with me, and as it turns out, the revision, the whole circumcision, was just a very big mistake, because it has left my junk not looking too good. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud outside. But that's okay. That's why I came here, because I can actually talk about this kind of stuff. This is the perfect spot to do this, by the way. I was like about to shift around and see if I can find another spot to do this at. Oh man, I'm not doing this in landscape. Hold on, y'all. Hey, I do have a few devices that, believe it or not, are very difficult to keep on. I actually have never successfully been able to put on a device. And it could just be measurements and stuff like that. I'm gonna give that another shot when I buy my next one. But for now, at most, I can get a retainer on, which is why I'm really like hyped. I'm trying to hype up those manual methods, because if there is any sort of results that I've seen, came after I started really doing manual methods. And now that we're on the topic of the manual methods, there's a lot of guides online, and like I said, everybody's body is different, so everyone's the method that you choose is gonna yield different results for everyone. That's just how your body works. So somebody's junk will do great with method A, and then you'll try method A, get almost no results, and then you'll jump over to method B and you'd be doing great. And then maybe the other dude's doing method B and getting nothing. So it all depends. It also depends on other factors, like how tight your scar, how tight your cut, how loose your cut. By the way, the looser your cut, the easier this is. For those that are tighter cut, you've got a longer journey. I don't know where I'm at this point. I think I was a nice tight cut, which is why whatever results I do have now seem very minimal, because it's been like 15 years since I started my journey, and I've bullshitted most of it. And as I mentioned, I'd like this to just serve as another version of this video that I made a rough draft to, like a journal entry, and because I'm actually going to be recording my progress, taking some photos. So this is no longer just about the foreskin restoration. This is also just about a complete revision, because I'm not content with how things are looking, and I feel like my life would be a lot better if things look just a little bit better. I'm not looking for a magic pill or anything. I'm not looking for the massive dong or anything like that. I just want a little bit of normalcy. And like I said, I've had a lot of sexual partners, and some people say that it doesn't matter. But I would say that it does, and a lot of people would agree. And even those who say it doesn't, people's eyes speak, and people's actions speak, and the lack of people's actions speak as well. And at this point, man, I can't believe I'm putting this online, but I'm just being honest. I'm 30. At this point, a lot of that shame has started to melt off. It's pretty cool. But I want to see how much progress I can get done in these next couple months, while I'm also working on a whole bunch of other shit. And then the biggest takeaway here is, at this point, I'm really about it. And you know, at 30, I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, I'm struggling to find things to care about. And this is something I care about. Um, Enough for me to make this video, and enough to put myself out there, to put my information out there, to put my, you know, this very big insecurity out there. But you know what? This is how it starts. And you never know. You never know. That's really it for now. Peace.